as of July. It was, Bobby, your numbers are as of July of
Maybe a little bit
2008.
on the low side. Now, do you take your count off of the annual census?
Yes, what is in the state census system, and it comes right from there.
Based on the responses from people, what they said?
Based on the responses, as well as there's a legal process as to who has to remain on and who doesn't. So if it is a voter, they must remain on still. They are counted for a period of time until either 2 federal elections have gone by and they have shown no voter activity and not responded to the census, and then they can be purged from the system. It's just an automatic purging. And you know, residents who are not registered voters, you know, sometimes they linger for a while because we don't have a method to capture them until we actually put a new resident in the home and then see inactivity, see that parents are gone and there might be children still at the home, and in that case we, you know, take them off at that time if we can locate the parents elsewhere in the state or find something. So there are methods to doing this.
Population going down.
It kind of balances out. Sometimes you have more people there that are truly not here in North Reading, and you're not capturing some of the people that are until they come in to register to vote. We capture people in many ways. We are part of the process for the building inspector's office. When they issue occupancy permits, they bring us a copy of that. So every new home that goes up, we put it into the state's computer system, which will generate a census form to that home. We may not even have the names of residents who purchased the home, but we will create an address and get a form that goes to that home, and hopefully the residents will answer it. But we don't go door to door anymore to capture these. You know. But I think we do cover the bases pretty well with the methods that we use.
So what action do we have to take?
There's a letter for you to sign, Commissary, if the board is, you and the board are in agreement to start it. I don't know if you have the original. I did print off another original. It's yours. And this will allow us to use this challenge package that is an original from the U.S. Census Bureau to initiate this process. The entire challenge has to be completed by October 1st, submitted back to them by October 1st to revise these figures for this particular year. So the window is a little small. I'm not sure what is involved because I'm not privy to the package yet, and so that's why we're trying to start this as soon as possible if you're interested, in order to get the forms here and look at what they used as their data source and retrace
at that point. So until we file the form, nothing is done.
Nothing. This is really just requesting the package. I will have to come back to you with it.
Do we have is there a motion?
There is a motion that's been happening in the past.
And in the meantime, we could be looking at what Steve's interest is in terms of benefit would be if we keep the numbers as they are.
When they see the form, also we'll get some better understanding.
Right. And my understanding from Ms. Strait at the Donahue Institute is that we're not the only community whose figures were high, and at least one other community is doing the informal challenge to lower their figures.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the town initiate an informal challenge of the U.S. Census Bureau population estimate for the town of North Reading, issued on July of 2009 for the date of July 1, 2009, as permitted under the U.S. Census Bureau's challenge process.
Is this informal, informal challenge?
Yes.
Correct.
The motion by Mr. Yule. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Delaney. All in favor?
Just as a thought, I'd like to get some more information in the interim here to some of the questions that were raised. Is there any potential benefit for just letting sleeping dogs lie? And in the meantime, we could. I don't know if anybody else is interested in it. If no one else is interested in it, then fine.
No, I think it's
Where
worthwhile.
we're going to get the information from, that's all.
Well, the population count must mean something in a whole host of areas, and I'm more concerned with the ones that are strictly aligned with dollars and cents. And so what's the cost benefit of
Could we wind up with some more grants because the population is higher?
You may end up with more federal funds, or you may end up with more state, I don't know, based on population. This is the first time. All the 11
It's
cities
fair to
in the
ask the
state will,
question.
you know,
I don't know where the answer comes from.
It would show that we're an extremely cost-effective and efficient organization.
no,
Would not have increased our budget, but increased our population substantially.
so it's coming upon the administration to look and see if there's any factors here that may potentially be of some benefit to us rather than challenging it. But if there's no
Well,
interest
likewise,
from the
we need the
majority of
other-
the board,
We need to know the other side of
and
that
on the other
coin,
side, we
too.
already know that there's a couple of detrimental factors involved, which has a cost impact, but if we're not interested, that's fine.
I would prefer to see things,
I'm sorry?
I would prefer to see things made right, period.
Yeah, we know there's such a drastic, there's an error here. There's a drastic difference between what we have and what federal government has. There's an error that needs to be corrected.
And if we ignore it, will it come back and haunt us? Will the state or federal government come back to us and say, you knew about this, and you've been granted money for this, now you have to give it back?
Based on the figures I produced. Yeah, I'm just asking the question and raising the issue. If it doesn't appear to be interest, that's fine. Move on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. See, Barbara gave me the one I need to sign.
Is that the same one as this one here?
Oh, yes.
What it says sign here?
I wasn't sure if we're going to end up with the original, but they are identical, so that's fine.
Okay.
That's
Do-
fine.
Shall we just include that with this, or do you just let
You
it
know
take
what?
it?
Not necessary, no?
I can take this one with me if that's okay,
Yeah.
because I'm going to
All
fax
right,
it
I'll
over.
sign this, just.
Okay, for your record.
All right. Let's see, let's go back and do the minutes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We have the minutes of July 13th, 2009.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the July 13, 2009 regular session minutes as written.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yule, second by Mr. O'Leary. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Executive session. There isn't one for, where is it?
For July 13th.
Executive session for July 13th.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the July 13, 2009 executive session minutes as written.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yule, second by Mr. O'Leary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Regular session of July 28th.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the July 28, 2009 regular session minutes as written.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yule, second by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Executive session of July 28th.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the July 28, 2009 executive session minutes as written.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yule, second by Mr. O'Leary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Correspondence? Anything on the list? Pass it down. Here for public comment? Next item on our agenda is to amend the town land policy 7.2, first reading. board by 4/5 vote may sell it for less than its assessed value if deemed to be in the town's interest at the time. Entertain a motion? Steve, you have a comment?
No, this
No,
is
this
just
was-
a follow-up to our previous
Right.
two sessions and discussions. This is the first of two readings, second reading, two readings, no, it's the first.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the first reading of amended policy 7.2, sale of town-owned land.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yule, second by Mr. O'Leary. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. And appointment of library trustees. One opening, we have three candidates.
That's right, Mr. Chair, in my discussions as the liaison from this board to the library trustees, my discussions with the chair, Marcy Bailey, we were informed that Grace Curley, who had been a trustee for a number of years, needed to resign. So first, I'd like to thank Ms. Curley for her time and her efforts on behalf of the town and on behalf of the library. And my further discussion with Mrs. Bailey, they have a 5-member board of trustees, and they, at the present time, have no associate members. We thought it'd be best to alleviate the need of starting someone brand new as a full voting member, that she would hope that this board would support having one associate member in addition to the 5 full members on the library trustee board. So, ready to move forward with the appointments.
And is there do you have a recommendation,
I have a recommendation from Mrs. Bailey on both the voting member as well as the associate member.
Reveal that.
Which is?
Oh, it's, for the voting member, it's Sharon Kelleher is the voting member.
And she has not been an associate prior.
She has not been, no, because they have not had an associate member.
They have not had.
And the associate member, Mrs. Bailey would recommend, and I would support Sarah Ralph.
And just one associate member? We're not looking to extend the associate membership beyond the one?
At this point, she'd be satisfied with the one. There were 3 individuals who submitted citizen activity records. The third person also would like to be considered for the FAC, and that decision hasn't been made yet by the chair of the FAC, but we're leaning towards making a recommendation in that regard for that third person who submitted for both library trustee and for FAC, and that person being Kristen Scammon.
When do we anticipate the FAC, what do we have for vacancy on FAC? Just one or?
Several.
Several, right?
That's right.
So I would be crossing out Kristen's name here. Now I understand that?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I was
For
gonna
the
say.
library? I'm confused. There are only 2 recommendations, but there are 3 names.
Right,
There's
all of them are
only,
considered.
there's only one. So we take a roll call vote to determine everyone gets the vote.
Would Ms. Scammon opt to defer, or was it presented to her to defer this appointment until after consideration for FAC, or did she still wish to participate?
As a library trustee as well?
Yes.
She'd first be considered as an FAC member.
She would like to be first be